Hello everybody, welcome to another quick video. Now today I'm doing something a little bit different because I've been given a camera. One of the guys that I work with, he knows someone that used to be in photography, he's kind of giving it up now due to old age. I said, do I want a camera? So, yeah, all right. So I've got this, which is a Sony Alpha 57, which is quite an early one, but it's a little bit different. It's one of Sony's first sort of ventures into the mirrorless realm with the SLT system. So it has got a mirror in it. It, strictly speaking, isn't mirrorless, but it's a semi-translucent. So it's almost like a hybrid setup, a bit of a strange setup. But you got a viewfinder which, for all intents and purposes, looks like you've got a mirror box, but you haven't. It is an electronic viewfinder, 16 megapixel sensor. So I thought, well, I just got it out of the box, charged it, put a memory card in, so let's go and have a wander, and I'll see what I think of it, see what sort of shots we can get. Could be interesting, so come and have a go. So where we've come to today, we're heading up to Solomon's Temple, just outside Buxton. Forecast looks like it could be interesting, partly sunny, maybe some interesting light, but it's quite a high spot. You can see all around the area of the peaks around here, so it might work quite well. Bit of a climb coming up, but nothing too major, but I think it'll be ideal. Then we're going to head down into Buxton Country Park, get into the trees and see what we see there, so should be a good test drive for the camera. So, as I said, this is a kind of mirrorless setup. It's sort of the first run into mirrorless that Sony did. It's what's known as their SLT series. So it has got a semi-translucent mirror actually in there, but everything's sort of run like a mirrorless system. Basically the mirror is just helping out with the focusing system, stuff like that. So you've got APS-C sensor, 16.7 effective megapixels. As you can see with the size, it's a little bit small for my hand, even though it is actually quite a chunky camera. So it is kind of sized like a DSLR would be, but not DSLR. It's a strange setup. But the lens I'm using is the kit lens that came with it, which is the 18-55, f3.5 to 5.6. And today I'm going to be running stuff mostly at sort of around f8ish, I think. Depends what the light decides to do. 'Cause it's doing some nice things at the minute, and the odd little bit and bob. There's a lovely section just over yonder, which this actually isn't quite long enough to get. I've got a 300 in the bag, but it's a bit breezy at the moment. Don't really want to mess around too much with it. So yeah, I'm going to pick out a few little bits around here because yeah, nice little rock formations, a little bit of foreground, a little bit of background, a little bit of moody cloud, a bit of blue sky. Yeah, can have a bit of a play with it, and generally have a bit of a mess around with the camera. First thing I'm noticing is, like I said, the controls fall fairly well to hand. On the top you have got a dedicated exposure compensation and ISO button. I've left it in auto ISO for now, but it doesn't need to do anything else at all really. Fairly standard sort of buttons on the back with display and stuff like that, but the screen isn't your normal sort of just flip out or twizzle. It does flip down and sort of rolls around, so you can actually have it facing towards you, because this will do some video. Nothing spectacular, it will do some video, which for a 2013 camera isn't too bad. There's a few little extra features in here that I probably won't bother using, but you've got basically feature modes. It's a bit like the recipes and stuff like that you get with the new Fujis. So you can actually sort of profile your JPEGs and stuff like that, but I'll be running the JPEG and RAW so I can have a look around and see what we've got. Other than that, I think most of it's just going to have a bit of a play. First thing I'm noticing with this, because it's the first time I've really taken it out and used it, other than sort of just putting a battery in and putting a card in to make sure it powers up, is the viewfinder feels distant, is the best way to describe it. You're looking through there and it feels like it's far away. Now you can actually alter that by actually sort of expanding the display on the viewfinder. But the idea is having it a bit further away. It's if you're wearing glasses, because the way the diopter works, if you have it on maximum, you're having to like move your glasses around, especially if you wear varifocals like I do. So it just gives you that option to actually look at it maybe a little bit further away, but it gives it quite a nice effect. So yeah, they thought quite well about the setup on that. I've heard that they did do one above this, which has got a 24 megapixel sensor in it, but obviously this was free. I'm not complaining, so I'm just generally having a play and see what it's like. But initially, obviously, we've got a bit of funny light at the moment looking towards the tower, so we're not really doing too much over there. But I've noticed that if you do get bright contrasted light, this viewfinder does struggle a little bit. It tends to go very, very dark. You can't really see what's going on. If you flip the screen down, sort of run live view like that, it's not too bad. So it's definitely something with a viewfinder. But yeah, I'm getting used to it. So very, very different to the OA1, I must say. And we'll see what the images come out like at the end. So obviously Sony these days, they're known for the A7 line and stuff like that. So yeah, they're known for very, very impressive camera systems. But this is right the way back. This is an A mount, so it's the Konica Minolta mount. So lenses wise, there's stacks out there and they're really cheap, and they're not bad lenses really. Clarity on them is normally fairly good. So if you did pick up one of these for cheap, and looking around, they're somewhere around the sort of the 150 to 200 mark, depending on the condition. Yeah, you've got loads and loads of lenses to play with. Would I consider sort of looking at this over, yeah, maybe like an old Canon DSLR? Maybe. It's a different setup. It's something that was very, very unique that nobody else really did. Essentially, as far as sort of mirrorless systems go, basically there were these, and then we went into like the full mirrorless compact bodies that we know these days. So this is essentially a DSLR mirrorless system. And it is very, very unique. It's not something that I've come across before. But like I said, the SLT, it came out and it was hailed as groundbreaking. It's something completely new. So yeah, very, very unique setup, and certainly a bit of fun to play with. So technicality wise, it has what they say 4 stops of image stability, well 2.5 to 4 stops of image stability, and you can notice a big difference because I'm used to the newer cameras with, yeah, almost superhuman ability to actually take handhelds. This isn't that. You have to be quite mindful of what you're actually taking. Certainly in very windy conditions you will struggle a little bit with it, but this has got a steady shot. It is better with it on than off, but yeah, nothing too spectacular. So the viewfinder itself, although it seems to come up a little bit dark, isn't too bad. It's 1.4 million megapixel or 1.4 megapixel set, display in there, so it's reasonably detailed. You know, it's not like the older stuff where, yeah, you're not going to be able to see what you're doing because it's all pixelated. The screen's not bad either. Like I say, it's a bit unusual because it flips down and will sort of flip around, so it's semi-articulated, but more of sort of a flip down rather than a full articulator we'll get on the newer cameras. Usual mode dial on there. I'm just running aperture priority today. And yeah, I mean, ergonomically, it's not bad, but it does feel quite chunky compared to what I'm used to. Although it does feel small because my little finger doesn't quite fit all the way through, but there you go. But it's just part and parcel of how things were designed back in those days. But managed to get a few shots off. The light coming and going, we're getting little patches around, so I'll try and just do snaps basically. This isn't going to be a portfolio session. This is just getting a few snaps and basically having a play. I'm hoping we'll do a bit more down in the woodland when we start walking through that bit. But we'll have a wander up to the tower now. I'll see if I can get some sort of wide shots out, and we'll see what sort of things it can do. It'd be interesting to actually look at these files and see what sort of dynamic range we get and stuff like that, because this is one of the things that they were sort of pushing on this, that it's, yeah, it is quite nice for the colour recognition and stuff like that, so we'll see. So, made it to the top of the monument. Have a bit of a look at it, got some lovely views out there. Nothing overly picturesque, unfortunately, despite some nice little patches of light, but yeah, I grabbed a couple of snaps. But I'm going to head down into the park now, which is a bit more woodland, which I think will be a bit more of a test for this. Like I said, this is alright, but I don't know, there's nothing really photogenic going on. Certainly not taking my eye very much anyway. So yeah, we're going to wander down, get into the woods, try and avoid as many dog walkers as we can, because it looks like someone's just dropped a bus load. And sort of get in the trees and see what sort of things are around there, see what sort of shapes pop out, any characters, and really give this a bit of a drive. Like I said, I've got the bigger lens with me. I've got the 75 to 300, I think it is. But I'm not really going to bother with that, because for the few bits and bobs that would actually work with a long lens, I'm not really sort of messing around with it. This is just, I want to have a play with the camera that I've been given, and we'll see what it does. So yeah, let's get down into the woods. Let's see what sort of things are in there. So one thing that I have missed is back button focus. I managed to figure out that I can use this AL button for a back button focus. Work that out in the menu. I can't seem to take it off the button though. Some reason I can't figure out how to actually stop the focusing on the shutter. Perhaps if I read the manual, or do, but I don't really have time. I'm enjoying the woodland too much. But just one of those things. So what do I think about my first outing with a Sony camera? Yeah, it's alright. I don't think I'd go completely mad and rush out to buy one. But yeah, it's alright. It's a different alternative to your regular DSLRs, your Nikons, your Canons and stuff like that from this sort of era. A lot of the older stuff, yeah, it's much of a much. There's not really anything different with it. But this is just that little bit different, which gives it that bit of an edge. You know, it is a mirrorless setup in a DSLR body, essentially. But it works. So the screen's alright, the viewfinder's average. It's more something you can work your composition out, but not a lot else really. So yeah, there's a bit of playing to do. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but yeah, I'm enjoying the time with it. Like I said, we're actually walking down towards Paul's Cavern at the moment, basically to go and get some breakfast. Then we'll get back into the woods, so I'll be taking a few more shots as we go around. But I thought, yeah, I'll bring you along, have a play with a bit of a camera. Because I've not shown it, I'll show you now the way the screen actually sort of pivots out. So at least then you've got some idea of what it actually looks like and how I mean by it sort of flips down and round. It's not your normal sort of flip out or articulated one, but at least you see what it looks like. But let's go and get some breakfast. So that's breakfast done, quite enjoyable, and just heading back out into some quite nice weather. You can see the sun's come out quite nicely now, so ideal opportunity, a bit of black and white, see what this is like. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a few more shots in now, and I'll see you back on the computer for having a look at some of these raw files. Let's see what they're actually like. In theory, this should be fairly good, but this will be quite nice because it's quite dynamic scenes, lots of contrast, a big good test for it. So I'll grab a few more shots now, and I'll see you back on the computer. Okay, so I brought this one in, and basically it's just a look at to see what the dynamic range is like, what we've sort of achieved. And the first thing I'm seeing actually is there's a little bit of fuzziness going on, especially around some of the more distant trees. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be the lens that's doing it, but it's something I had before on one of our full frame lenses, a Tamron one. Occasionally you got fantastic sharp images, but occasionally it just got a little bit fuzzy. Let's have a bit of a zoom in here, go to 100%. I mean, that's not too bad, but you can just see a little bit of fuzziness around the edges. So yeah, I think that is actually the lens that's causing that more than anything else. Because certainly the bits that are in are actually quite nice. I mean, I'm just going to play with the tone equalizer a second, just push that up a little bit. I want to see what these shadows actually have got in them. And you know what, that's not bad. That is not a bad bit of dynamic range. For a camera of this age, I'm actually quite impressed with that. That's not bad at all. So definitely, it looks like the sensor's not bad at all, but your lens choice, I think this is going to be important. I mean, maybe I should have actually broken out at 300 a bit more when we were there, but I think that's actually not a bad test of the dynamic range, because it's a very bright day, and there's a lot of dynamic range going on in there. Slightly let down by the lens, but like I say, it's a kit lens. It's kind of what you expect really for that sort of age. But I'll do a very quick sort of shuffle on the edit on this, just see what I can actually sort of bring up. I'm actually going to make it a little bit more moody, I think. Just push the contrast a little harder. And I'm actually going to have a bit of a mess here. Actually push this into black and white. So let me just a bit of a mess. As you always know, I do love a bit of black and white, so this does actually work out quite nicely for me. I'm actually going to recrop that. Let me just have a look around. Just a little bit off. Yeah, that's more like it. And generally I tend to have vignettes on most of my stuff, if you've probably noticed. I just like actually sort of bringing the centres up a little bit more, so it takes you sort of eye away from the edge, but the edge is there to sort of give you a bit of a bit more of a feature. But yeah, that's not too bad. The software I use, Art, has actually got a system called Softlight, which is kind of a softer contrast. You get a little bit more control over it, but by using it you can get some really nice deep effects, especially if you want to really sort of push the shadows and stuff like that. So that is actually quite nice. Haze removal, I'm going to bang it on and just take it off again just to have a look. Nah, it's a bit too harsh, I think. But yeah, definitely with that, that's not too bad. I'm leaving the whites high because I want this contrasty feel to it. Maybe just to push the mid-tones a little bit as well. But yeah, pull the shadows back. Yeah, like I say, it's an average image, as I said while I was taking it. But yeah, I think that looks okay. And yeah, the raw files, not bad at all. So there we go, I'm wandering around a couple of areas at Grin Low with a Sony Alpha A57. It's been a bit of fun. I've definitely enjoyed it. It's been an experience. Slightly annoying in places because I don't seem to be able to get rid of the focus on there. But yeah, ergonomically, it's not bad. Certainly the screen's pretty good. Viewfinder, average. But it's a different thing to your run-of-the-mill, which is quite nice. Something a bit different. But I'm going to leave the video here for now. Like I said, there'll be a few more shots from this morning coming up, a little bit of a gallery now. But if you've enjoyed the video, please do hit a thumbs up. Really helps out. And if you're not subscribed, hit subscribe. Helps the channel out to end, but it doesn't cost you a penny. So yeah, we'll carry on wandering. Enjoy this wonderful bird song, and we'll see you again on the next one. Take care.
When lights go out, you're in my mind. I close my eyes, so it's just you and I tell myself you'll be back again. When the stars are aligned, we will dance in the meadow on our favorite place. When spring is coming, I will save you a space for a dance in the meadow on our favorite place when spring is coming.